Good afternoon, everyone. I'm super excited to be here. It's a great day to be a Gamecock, and I'm just excited to be a part of Gamecock Nation and getting to the ability to invest in this athletic department and in this community. It's super important for me, and I couldn't be more excited about what the future is going to hold. So I've officially been on campus for 2 weeks today. I got in around this time 2 weeks ago on a Tuesday, and just hit the ground running. It's been exciting. I've been able to hire 2 staff members, so I do have some help that have stepped in and are able to be here with me. They were both with me at App State, which was a great opportunity for us as a staff because we understand how we work together, how the gym's going to be, how recruiting's going to work. And the coolest thing is they both have SEC experience. So hired Connor Zimick. He was a GA at Kentucky along his pathway. He started out at Wisconsin at Butler and then was with me from the jump. And then Chanel Hargraves, she played at Florida, was in the national championship game at Florida as a player. And me, I have SEC experience having played in the SEC and coached at the SEC at multiple stops. So we're just excited that we get to be together. They're 2 great coaches, they're great people, and they're amazing role models for our student athletes. I just couldn't be more excited to have them with me here. And we're still in the process of hiring 2 more coaches to add and round out our staff, and hopefully we're able to accomplish that by the end of May would kind of be the goal. In terms of where we're at with the team, got in 2 weeks ago. We had a team meeting on Wednesday 2 weeks ago. And we're really just able to establish and set some really clear standards of what we're going to be about, what the gym's going to be like, what it's going to feel like, what it's going to sound like. And so we've been really good about establishing those standards and clearly communicating that with the team. And the things that we've been talking about with them, we've been talking about there's these 2 buckets that we have to be really good in. And they have to go hand in hand. So bucket number 1 is our culture bucket. So what are the standards? What are the expectations? What are the behaviors that are going to drive those expectations? What are we going to be as teammates? What's the gym culture going to be? So we have to be good over here in establishing those standards culturally so that we can develop what our culture is going to be moving forward. Bucket number 2 is what's our execution going to be? So can we kill enough balls? Can we serve well enough? Can we dig enough balls? All the volleyball X's and O's. We can be a great team culturally over here, but if we're not able to execute at a high enough level, we're not going to win very many volleyball matches. And vice versa. We can maybe kill enough balls, but if we don't have great camaraderie and team cohesion, then we're not going to be able to go as far as we want to as a group. And so we talk about that every day with our group. We get 3 weeks together since I got here before our spring is over. So I've just been talking with them about we have to maximize every moment that we have in the gym together. We have to be able to build this culture so that when they get back together in the summer on their own, that they can carry out the culture. And then from there, once that's established pretty clearly, then we can continue to get them better on the volleyball side of things, expectations, execution, X's and O's, all of those things along the way. And honestly, the team's doing amazing. Like they have upheld the standards and the things that we've asked of them day in and day out over here culturally. And so it's been fun to kind of shift focus these last week and a half and just talking about the X's and O's and how do we kill more balls and how do we continue to execute at the highest level possible. So it's been, they've been very hungry to learn. They've been invested in the things that we're talking about, and they've done a great job of buying in. They're a great group of girls. They have a really high reputation here on campus in the athletic department. And so I'm just really proud of what we've been able to establish kind of a week and a half, 2 weeks in with them. We're still in the same spot of trying to build our roster for what our roster is going to look like next year. This team's coming off of an NCAA tournament appearance last season, but they graduated a ton of seniors, and they had one player that was a starter that entered the transfer portal. And so we're going to be seeing a lot of new faces in the fall of some youth. We're going to be seeing a lot of new faces as we continue to put the best roster possible together to compete at the highest level we can. So that's kind of where my focus has been this last week. Our whole staff was out recruiting. We were in a bunch of different cities all over, multiple trips. And so we're just trying to build that roster to the best of our ability. We are returning a couple of key starters. One of those being Victoria Harris, hometown hero from Columbia, and she's phenomenal. She's been doing a great job. She's really, really bought into what we're doing, and couldn't be more excited to, have a Columbia native here in our gym that's kind of driving and pushing our program forward. And she's coming off of an SEC all freshman team appearance, and I anticipate that she's going to continue to push. She wants to be the best, and I'm just excited to coach her and have her help us continue to build this as we push forward. I'm just excited to, continue to get to work. There's obviously a lot to be done, a lot of tasks along the way, but we're excited to build this program into a perennial NCAA tournament team and beyond. But that's step one, is that year in and year out, we're in the NCAA tournament and we're building rosters that they know that that's the standards and the expectations as we continue to push deeper into NCAA tournament and higher up rankings in the SEC. And just building champions as people, and building them on the court, in the classroom, and beyond. So that's what I'm about. I love people. I love investing in relationships. I love investing in our community. And I'm excited to get to know all of you as we start this journey together. And I would love to answer any questions or dive in deeper with the things that you guys are curious about.
If you don't mind introducing yourself as well, just so we can get some names and faces.
Hey, Sarah. Jordan K. with the State. Nice to meet you.
Jordan, great to meet you.
You were Jeremiah Donati's first hire. What was the process like? Like, when did you hear from him, and what was an interview with him like?
Yeah, it was an awesome process. Jeremiah is the reason I'm here. I can't thank him enough. His energy is contagious. It's palpable. He's someone that I want to work for, and it's very evident that he's a great leader. So the search firm had reached out to me. We kind of started the process that way, and then we were immediately on a Zoom call with him, round one of just getting to talk. And, in the beginning, it was really brainstorming. He was kind of asking me questions from having been in the SEC, knowing the SEC, having coached in the SEC along the way, from playing in this gym, being around Columbia as an outsider looking in. And we really just kind of had a brainstorm session of how do we build this program? How do we get this to where it needs to be year in and year out? And it was amazing for me to feel that from him, that it was a very collaborative approach. And then obviously from there it went into getting to meet more people along the way, getting to come on campus and have deeper conversations as we dove in. But it's evident that he is a great leader. He has a vision for where we're going. And it was very evident for me from the very first interaction that I had with him that he's someone I want to work for, and he's a leader that I want to be under.
Hi, Sarah. Ken Lumpkins. I'm with the Post and Courier.
Awesome.
You said this was your second week on campus?
Yes. The start of week 3 will be tomorrow. Yeah.
Gotcha. What do you think of the campus?
Yeah.
And what are you most excited for in general being here?
The campus is beautiful. I mean, it's obviously coming in pollen season. I know when I came on my interview, there was pollen on all of the cars. I'm like, okay, got to get ready for allergies and things. But it's amazing to see everything in bloom, seeing the trees. My brain always goes into the recruiting world. If I have a recruit on campus and they're walking around this place, what are they going to feel? What are they going to see? And I think it's pretty clear that it's a pretty special place. And it's funny. We have some recruits coming on campus tomorrow for the first time. It'll be our first recruiting visits. And we're like, man, we probably need to go on a campus tour to be in the main part of campus. So we accomplished that yesterday to make sure that we're prepped to go through a recruiting segment with athletes that we're bringing them in. But it's a beautiful campus. I think it's evident the energy that is around and the passion for this place. And excitement level, I'm excited about a lot of things, but just getting to know the girls, invest in relationship with our team, and getting to put a great product out there that fans and this community want to support. And building up the reputation that every South Carolina kid wants to stay home and wants to be here. That's really, really important for me. So getting out into the clubs, into the high schools, building those relationships, that's the only option for them when they're going through the recruiting process. So I'm excited to build that.
Hey, Sarah. Michael Sauls with the State Newspaper.
obviously this program has had some success in recent years. I guess, what does success look like for this program in year one of your tenure, and then how do you kind of parlay that into a long-term success?
Absolutely. I think success immediately is, we talked about that culture bucket. We have to establish the culture that we're going to be about day in and day out, and what the gym is going to be, what the expectations are of the gym. We've upped the ante with these kids. They're working hard. They're buying in. So I think it's making sure that we're creating a model that's sustainable over time. I want to tailor the expectations to understand we're going to have so many new faces as we're building our roster. Obviously, I'm competitive and I want to win, but can we find a way into the NCAA tournament this upcoming year? That would be amazing for us, as we're going to have a lot of new faces. But I really want to set the program up for success by building a strong foundation from the jump, that our culture is what it is, that people and athletes are buying in, and that we're able to create something that's sustainable over time. And so the standards, just setting those standards in the gym, off the court, on the court, and making sure that the athletes can start to carry those out. So that would be success for me in year one, is that it's sustainable over time, and we set up a great foundation.
Hi, I'm Chaz Frazier. I work at the ABC station here
Awesome.
in town. You talked about the turnover. You talked about how you're acquiring new coaches and really trying to put your stamp on this program in a hurry. Describe that process, and how exciting is that for you to sort of lay the foundation and get ready for the season to come?
Yeah, it's super exciting. I think that's been one of the coolest things, getting to be a head coach of a program, is you're the leader in every pathway and in every avenue. And for me, I love getting to set the tone. I'm pretty high energy. Hopefully you can pick that up in my communication. I'm pretty fast paced. I enjoy people. I'm relational, and so for me, getting to set the tone day in, day out of what the program's going to be. And as we're building it, I want people that are going to match that and are going to be excited about that as well. So it's fun. I want to be around like-minded people. I talk in recruiting a lot. Like attracts like. There's some athletes that aren't going to be excited about high energy and fast pace, and that's okay. I'm not the coach for them. And there's some coaches that are going to be, chill and mellow, and I may not be the right leader for them, because I'm going to demand certain things that are true to me and true to myself, so that I can be at my best. But I love setting the tone. I love getting to lay the foundation for what these girls are going to step into every day. I think it's so important as coaches that we remain consistent with our student athletes, that they know what they're going to get so that they can be at their best. And I take a lot of pride in managing myself at a really high level, so that then that can trickle down into managing my staff, managing my support staff, and then that my athletes, who are the most important people in the entire program, feel like they are in a space where they can go let it rip, be at their best, play at their highest level, compete hard, and be confident in what they're doing.
Hi, Lulu Kesson. I work for the Greenville News, but I cover South Carolina sports.
Awesome.
I'm just curious, you've talked a little bit about it already, but just with new coaches and new players, how do you really build relationships? And a lot of times it may feel forced or rushed, especially with the timeline in terms of a season, but how do you go about just getting to know all these new faces that you're going to have a lot of kind of control over?
Yeah, it takes time, obviously, because some people are going to trust really quickly. Some people are going to, kind of wait and see approach. But in the very first Zoom call that I had with them, I said, hey, we all have to, for the next 3 weeks, do anything in our power to A, get to know each other, and B, to get as good as we can in the next 3 weeks. And so I set that standard with them straight away. And so, I was able, after I had my first Zoom call with them, was able to jump on some individual phone calls for those that were wanting to learn more. And then I've just been asking them to stop by our offices. Our office setup is great. It's right across from the gym. And so just really ask them, hey, you have to stop by so that we can get to know you outside of the court. And then I think there's levels intentionally in the gym. We have a question of the day every day that's up on our whiteboard. So some of that is volleyball related. Some of that is not volleyball related. I think their favorite one we've had so far, I didn't come up with it. One of them wrote it on the board, is what's your spirit animal? So you learn a lot about people and investing in relationships that way when you have some of those questions, and you can dive deeper and talk more. And, I think just before and after practice, also working to get to know them a little bit, because if I don't know them as people off the court, I'm not going to know how to be able to coach them in the best way possible to be able to maximize their potential. And so I do believe that those things go hand in hand. And so we've just been working really hard as a staff to try to find those little extra touch points along the way as we're able to get to know them. Yeah, Lulu again.
Sorry, just to kind of build off what you're talking with Chaz, I feel like in the era of transfer portal and everything, when, coaches have really great rosters, it's really easy to look at what they lost, whether that's to graduation, transfer portal, so be it. You're coming in, you don't have to look at kind of what was lost because this is your first year.
Yep.
Although it may seem like there's some disadvantages there, kind of how do you see the benefits and not really having to reflect too heavily on last year because, this is your first year?
Yeah, it's twofold in the sense of you want the athletes to feel confident and comfortable that are in the gym now and they're not constantly looking over their shoulder. But on the same breath, I want every athlete to earn it every single day. We talk about that, like nothing's given. So you may have been in a role in a previous year, but you have to earn that day in and day out because then it means more when you're going to step on the court when you've earned something and not just been handed something. But yeah, I think when you talk about building a roster and not really knowing the pieces and really only having 3 weeks with the team, it's just kind of getting in the gym, evaluating from day one, okay, what is my style of play, which we're going to play fast paced, we're going to be high energy, we're going to be scrappy, we're going to be athletic, and making sure that the athletes match that so that I can coach at my highest capabilities. And so, it's kind of evaluating what's here, figuring out what needs do we have from out of high school, out of the transfer portal, and how do we go tackle those to build the best possible roster in year one. But, you want to make sure that you're evaluating things at a high level and giving things time and giving the athletes time that are here to also be able to showcase what their strengths are. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I want to make sure that the athletes fit my style so that we can implement that straight away, so that we can continue. We talked about building the foundation success in year one, continue over time to establish what our style of play is going to be.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, you guys.